No, I don't think so, because it's incredible how the race leader has done so many more pit stops compared to the car that's in second, because that's a lot of time that they lost. But like you said, with their strategy, maybe during those code 60s, they played it to perfection. They saw what they could do here, and they kind of figured out, right, well, we've got to try this. You know, what's the harm in trying it? And it seems to be whatever they tried during those code 60s, during their rapid pit stops, it's worked out, because it's the best time to do it, right? The entire field is neutralized, no one overtaking, no one's going to come at you pretty fast, that you can take your time in the pit lane if you need to. But of course, that's not something that they did. They found a strategy that I don't think anyone else thought of.
Yes, quite true. It'll be interesting to see how that's going to play out. Di Binks will be joining us in the pit lane in a little while. We've got a little bit of a break in the pits give the camera guys a rest for an hour or so. So Di Binks will be back on with us around about 6 a.m. Oh, we're still going. Okay, camera's still going, but Di won't be talking. She'll have a little break, and she deserves it as well. And I'm going to step out for a little while. I may be gone for a walk, and I may be gone for quite a while, or I might just throw myself at the floor in the back of the commentary box for a few hours, and I'm going to hand over the reins to Snowy, who can sit down and talk for a little while. And look at, oh God, he's taking his shoes off. I've got to get out of the box now.
I would do the same thing, but I don't want to have to open a window, because then it's going to get very, very loud.
These windows do open, by the way.
I don't think we want to do that at the moment. I'm just for the sake of this, I'm going to keep my shoes on for the foreseeable future. I can't believe we're having this discussion at this stage of the race. But however, we're just going to wait for Snowy to get himself all collected here, make sure he's all comfortable. And Chris, thank you for the last hour, and it's been a pleasure having you up here and also in pit lane today. It's been brilliant. And I probably won't get to chat to you again before the end of the race, as you'll be heading off duty after a stellar stint. Thank you very much for that, my friend. Really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to having a break soon enough and having a small nap myself before, of course, the end of the race takes place. So Phil Anson hops out of the seat, and in his place will be Peter Snowden, who, I can't believe I'm going to say this, I've only just figured out what his actual name is. I've been calling him Snow the entire weekend. I probably should have asked him what his full name is before I started using a nickname, but he gives me a cheeky smile, so I think I've done the right thing there. I have noticed that Ahmed Al-Khaja is now behind the wheel of the 36 of Simpson Motorsport Audi. That is the leader in the TCE category, and they finally made their way onto the first page of the timing screen, which is fantastic news to what is a team of drivers who are, well, half of them are actually based here in the United Arab Emirates, some hailing from the country itself, some hailing from nearby Arab countries as well. And it's fantastic to see more and more drivers enter these races and these series and actually proudly wave the flags of the Middle East around, and it's fantastic to see. You know, Ahmed Al-Khaja, of course, originally from Lebanon, up into, as we said, the 36th position overall, and again, the class leader. Didn't get it quite, had to have a chance with him, but Peter Snowden has joined me up in the commentary box. And Peter, you and I have been running up and down the pit lane. Has you any last-minute stories? Did anyone come running after you before you entered the tunnel?
Not quite. The very last thing I did was I did mention to CP Racing, had they got another spare gearbox, and Charles Espinal just got out of the car and he just said, what for why? He said, do you know something we don't know? I said, yeah, I know that the Get-to-Me cards just failed, theirs have just failed. And he goes, well, he goes, they can take the one out of our spare car from Abu Dhabi last week. If they want to take it out and put it at this time of the race, they went, but they can have that for the rest of the race if they want. I don't think that deal's happening, but I was just trying to do a little bit of brokering there, you know, sort of keep everybody in the race. We like that.
A little side hustle there.
Exactly,
side closing hours.
You've exposed me.
Well, you team manager duties, you should be used to this kind of stuff.
Well, exactly, yeah. That's what I meant back to driving.
But interesting, though, that the other Mercedes AMG technology has not had any relative issues that we've seen so far on our screen. They're a little bit further down the Harder Racing by SBS. Darren Turner currently behind the wheel of that car. 24th overall, he's just come across the line as well. 13th overall, 5th in Pro-Am. And I've just seen a personal best has popped up on our screen. Yes, I do apologise, I had to hit my microphone. Martin Ranganer in the Neuhofer Rennsport car is just a 2:04.536, a personal best here, when what is essentially just before the break of dawn.
Yeah, I mean, I heard you guys saying earlier, and you're absolutely spot on with how the race changes again. It's sort of this nighttime bit. We're going up to dawn breaker at sunlight. Sunrise is 7 o'clock, I gather. Yeah, and it will suddenly become a whole different race again until 1 o'clock. It's quite mad.
Yeah, and it's that time of day, like Phil said before, it's the challenge that the drivers had when the sun is rising and there's that glow, and then you have the glint in your eyes, and it can really catch you off guard. Now, with doing races such as 12 hours or 6 hours, you may not have to, you may face it maybe once, but when you do 24 hours, you actually have to go through those stages twice, because you've got sunrise and sunset. So there's 2 periods when you've got sun glinting in your eyes, and it can really throw you off. It can be very, very problematic. And, well, fatigue is also settling in now as well with a lot of the drivers. Okay, a lot of them have had a long time to rest. I know, obviously, a lot of the quicker drivers have probably had a bit more time to relax.
Yeah, I mean, as you probably know, that when you look out of the windscreen of one of these cars, we've seen it on the onboards as well, you get a very narrow field of vision, deliberately so, because you've got a dash, your driver wants to be focused, you've got your windscreens, the sun strip with obviously this one's 24-hour Dubai on it. But it's a very narrow window. It's almost like in the Cars film. It's that little bit they can pair of eyes on, but don't. That's great during the day. But as you say, when you get into that sunrise, sunlight, it's they haven't got much altitude change here at Dubai, but there are a few bits, and it's just where the sun is. It can suddenly on one, it can catch you, and you basically, sunrise or sunset, you cannot see what's going on in front, and you're doing 120 miles an hour, and you're thinking, I really should have listened to my careers advisor at school and had a different job. Why am I doing this? You know? I do remember that once I did actually the best one, that was in a 24-hour race. I did Spa 24-hour in 2003, so what's that, 21 years ago, in a Dodge Viper. And the wiper packed up, and it rained in biblical proportions for 20 of the 24 hours. And the Blanchimont corner there was up to the old bus stop as it was then, which was a very tight, slow 90-degree left, 90 right, and then out fast past the pits until they changed it. And it was sponsored by Proximus, Belgian telephone company at the time, and they had those large vertical flags that we see around all the circuits nowadays. They were quite new then, on the left-hand side. I remember counting that there were 7 of those, and that you'd got to pass 5, and the 6th one, that was your braking point, because you couldn't see out of the car. Doing 175, 180 mile an hour in the rain, thinking, I hope I've picked up the first one.
Probably realised it too late. Oh no, I missed it. I missed one.
Yeah. Really? Why am I doing this? It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and really, I could be asleep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Never mind other sorts of nefarious activities. Just be asleep.
I see the Lotus there on the left-hand side of your screen. A very interesting car. Some interesting regulations for that car as well. But I think the most interesting story behind that car is what happened in the early hours of the morning. Actually, no, it was just before midnight it happened. It had that catastrophic issue that it came in with the left front tyre not where it should have been. The car was leaning heavily on that side as well. It did take me some time to get Stefan Daste to talk to me about it, but he was very open about it, and he told me everything that went wrong, and an incredible job of getting that car back around, because that is no easy car to get back around with that kind of issue.
What no car really is. It's just what was the exact, because I wasn't actually on air at the time, but what was the exact issue with it, Chris?
So I didn't quite catch him fully, but there was definitely, he had an issue on track. He hit, something went wrong, and it went pretty much catastrophically wrong, because the tyre had far too much camber, and it's pretty much coming off the suspension itself. They got that car fixed in the space of about 2 hours, so another great job from the team for a really quick turnaround.
It never ceases to amaze me that almost it tends to be the case with the races, certainly the 24-hour races. We watched it with Muller, didn't we, at the very beginning, that constantly chasing that electronic problem, and they kept trying to get there, and it's that or Grove, and it's just like, out, done. At some point, the team manager or the technicians have to make a decision there and just say, right, we either can do this and we keep going, or we can't.
Speaking of issues, I still have a feeling that Kobe Powell's car is still struggling. I don't know if the team have found out what that issue is, and we have to look a little bit further down the order to find it. No, because Kobe Powell's is still shown as the driver of that car. They have completed 271 laps. They've been in the pit lane for an hour and 48 minutes. So whatever issue they're having, it's still causing them issues. And again, a very strange issue. You know, to have something as a steering issue that when you turn one direction works perfectly fine, but then when you do it, the power steering for some reason doesn't work. So a very unique and an anomaly, essentially, for an issue like that to appear.
Yeah, I heard you guys describing that when I was walking up the pit lane, and I was like you, I wasn't on air, but I was trying to process that of what could it be? Because I heard you and Phil discussing it, just saying, well, it's not a rack, it's hard to process what that could be, unless it's just a. They were saying it turned one way, it didn't turn the other.
It was like when you see the Audi.
It's almost like it's been seized, hasn't it? One element seized.
Exactly, and when you see the Audi representative puzzled, and you see the driver puzzled, and the team puzzled, then you know, like, okay, well, this is very strange. If they don't know what the issue is, then how are they going to get it solved? Because of course they're the ones that build the cars, they're the ones that are constantly in it, testing, practicing, racing the car as well. And of course, Audi have a massive crew on site here with a lot of spare parts available. But when it comes to finding the issue that you can't find, well, it makes things a little bit harder, doesn't it?
Well, it goes back to what we were saying about the Muller car. When I interviewed the technician on Muller from the team, and they were completely relaxed. And I was trying to work out the dynamic of what was going on, and they were all standing around the car, obviously attentive, but they weren't doing a great deal of work, and not suggesting they were remotely lazy. The reason being, once I had a little bit of greater depth to it, was a Porsche issue. So their point was, if you think about it logically, you have a driver issue, you have a track issue, you have a car issue, or a preparation, or a manufacturer. And at that point, it was just a process elimination. It's just a list. It's not a question. It's not a blame game. But there was nothing that Muller had done wrong or could have done wrong. It was something that failed with it. It was a Porsche component because it was electronic. So they were just standing back and just and literally the great quote was, he said, as long as the Porsche's engineer's head is red. He was followed the challenge as well, by the way. Said that is good, and I said, and the reason being, the metric was, he said, that means he's stressed, which means it's still a Porsche problem. He said, when he becomes de-stressed, it becomes our problem. And I thought, what a great little window, literally, into looking into the pit lane, just watching this car working there. I looked in at exactly that moment, of course, you did, and the Porsche engineer, he was like a beetroot, trying to find that electronic issue, yeah. But it's a Porsche problem, it's a manufacturer issue.
Yeah, well, of course, when you've got customer racing like this, there's a lot of staff on hand that are the ones that have to solve the issue. When you've got factory backing, there's many people, but usually when you've only got one from well, then they're the ones that have all the headache to deal with, like you said. Simon Recker, the Estelant racing team car, still out in the lead, 400 laps completed, 25 minutes currently behind the wheel of that car. He just got in about half an hour ago, and well, there's still that interesting statistic of 25 pit stops completed, where the car that's in second has only done 19 pit stops, which is, again, I still find it bad. I know Phil and I spoke about it quite a fair bit. It's just incredible just how much time they've managed to get back, even though they've done 6 more pit stops compared to their closest rival of Sergei Borisov and the